man, we said we're going to take 2 backers. And, man, to go get Jamal Anderson and D. Creighton, been committed since the summer, a long time now. Hey, super excited about these guys right here. I mean, Jamal from Mill Creek and D from Denmark, 2 great families, 2 great kids that I think are exactly what we needed at that position. And then on the back end, 3 corners and 3 safeties. Avion Terrell, I got a picture, just goes to show you, I mean, sometimes God just blesses you, right? And I got a picture with little Avion when he was in like the 7th grade when we were recruiting AJ. And I told him back then, I said, the only reason we were recruiting AJ was to get him. And so here we are. And that little guy grew up, and he's a baller. He is a incredibly competitive, skilled, focused kid, and knows what it looks like. I mean, he brings a presence with him at that position, and obviously he's been exposed to a lot through his brother and his development and his time here at Clemson. So, man, Avion is a great addition coming out of Westlake. Shelton Lewis, out of Stockbridge. When I was at his house, his dad went to his room and he brought a loose leaf piece of paper that was kind of torn up a little bit, and when he was about 10 years old, he wrote down I think his top 8 school choices that he wanted to go and play college football at one day, and number 1 on his list was Clemson, and just really cool. It's a really, really cool thing, and now here he is, grown up, and he's made that dream a reality. And so I would say the same thing, man. Shelton he's here now. He's incredibly focused. He's a very skilled kid. He's tough. He's just about his business. That's what I'm really excited about these guys and who they are. And just I think they've got a level of maturity to them that you don't always see, especially sometimes at that position. They're really locked in technically and fundamentally, and passionate about it. And then you got Brandon Strozier from down at St. Francis. He is long. He is a long athlete who can run, and same thing, been committed a long time. Has tremendous athleticism, but just a ton of length. So all 3 of those guys, with what we need to the field and the boundary and our nickel corner, I mean, they really, I think, fit everything that we're looking for at the position. And then at safety, Kylan Webb, Robert Billings, and Khalil Barnes, same thing, man. Mickey Kahn, just a phenomenal job. Kylan Webb is a tremendous athlete. If you really study him, he can do anything. I mean, he plays both sides of the ball. He really understands the game. He's tough. He's fast. He can really run. He's got a bright future ahead of him. Same thing with Robert Billings at Milton. A great player, a very dynamic player. He's physical. And then Khalil Barnes from over at North Oconee. Been committed a while, but I guess made it public here just recently. Man, this is a kid that was born to come to Clemson. I mean, you spend 5 minutes with him, and there's just like you just know this guy's supposed to be at Clemson. Same thing with his family. Just a great group of prospects. Khalil's also here right now, going through practice, and will go to the bowl with us. But super excited about having all of these young men be Tigers, and I cannot tell you again just how awesome their families are, and just thankful that, again, they chose us. They chose to believe in who we are and the way we do things, and that's going to be a lot of fun as we move forward. So as far as our team, good bowl prep. Everybody broke today. They're gonna be off here for a few days, and then we'll meet back up Christmas Day, and actually get a little bit of practice in Christmas night. That'll kind of be like a Monday for us, game week wise, and get back going. So, and then also I want to just say this on yesterday, something really, really cool. But Will Shipley, as y'all saw, was named Academic All-American, and man, that's only my 2nd time that I've had a guy. He's the first running back ever at Clemson to do that. And he's only, my first one and my last one was 2012, Dalton Freeman. So I think you got to have a 3.5 just to even be in the conversation. And then obviously you got to be a great player. You got to merit that. So it's a hard award to have. And I think Clemson went a long time prior to Dalton Freeman winning it, and then it's been another decade. So I'm just really proud of Shipley, and it just says everything you need to know about him. You know, who he is. You know, I always say how you do anything is how you do everything, and he is truly committed to excellence in all areas. So just awesome to see him recognized in that fashion yesterday. And with that, I'll take questions.
Sounds like, yeah, 4 guys here practicing. Is it 4?
Yep.
And then what can you do with it? What can they learn? What value does it give them to kind of be with the team right now?
Oh, I think just start that acclimatization process, that transition. They can, you know, we can start working with them and teaching them. So they've got to go through a couple days of shorts. So I think a couple of them will actually be able to maybe get into shells one of the days. But we're, you know, obviously they don't know your schemes and stuff, but you can start that process. But a lot of individual, you know, we do JV work every day. Which culminated in a big scrimmage on Monday, which was really fun. We might do a little bit of more scrimmaging on our Tuesday practice down there, but just being in the meetings, starting that process of learning your teammates, you know, getting exposed to, you know, some of the drill work, the terminology, you know, those type things. So. And they get to have a great trip to the Orange Bowl. This is we've never been able to do this before. You know, we've been able to bring guys in the past, maybe to do some practice here or there, but we've never been able to take guys with us. So I think it'll be a great experience for them, a kind of an eye-opening thing, and again, just get a little bit of a head start.
I guess when you look at the positions that you've filled at this point, are there any positions you still want to recruit for February? Is there further openings?
I mean, we feel great about where we are. I mean, roster-wise, I mean, we don't really have any. I don't have any room at the end hardly. So you know, we're pretty stacked. So it's a great problem to have. We got some guys, like I said, we got some guys coming back that we didn't know were coming back. I promise you, will be the best recruits in this class. So I'm super excited about that. But to answer your question is. Ask me tomorrow. It might be a different answer, right? So that's just kind of where we are. Anything can happen. I think it's just a fluid. You're always evaluating where college football is now. You're always evaluating your roster every day, and you're evaluating everything. So, you know, as we sit today, we are in a great spot, and you know, from a roster standpoint, love our guys here, love where they are, and you know, but. Anything can change, and if it does, you address it.
Some of these guys coming back, are there any surprises, people we don't know about? Or?
Oh, there were some surprises to me. So I don't know that y'all know about things, but I don't think some of them have said anything, but at some point they will.
To clarify on Paul, is he coming here as a grad transfer to be immediately eligible? Since he's already
Yeah, he graduated.
Okay.
Yeah, he
So
graduated.
Immediately eligible?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's eligible.
So he'd be here this spring?
He'll be here in January. Yep.
You've had a couple of years now having to navigate the NIL situation. How have you seen that become a part of recruiting and handled sort of navigating those waters?
You know, it really hasn't been much of an issue for us. It's been a positive for us. You know, our focus has always been inside out here. We've not used it in recruiting. You know, we focus on our roster. I think for us, it's always been about, you know, no different than pre-NIL. I've always said if you do a great job with your players, and you have a great program, you have a good culture, you're equipping them and really fulfilling the purpose of the program, the recruiting will take care of itself.
There's always so much that happens in like the conversations with the parents. Like I'm sure these parents come to you guys and
Yeah.
are like,
Yeah.
what is this? How does my kid
Oh, yeah.
not end up
Yeah.
in tax fraud? Like just there's so much more on your plate now.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say is you know, that pre-NIL, that's always been the focus. Now that we have NIL, it's still the focus as far as, you know, okay, making sure that our roster, the guys here, They have all the resources that if they want to participate, some guys don't even participate. They don't want to. But for those guys who really want to maximize their NIL, that we have the resources available to them, that we protect them, train them, educate them. I mean, we just built a unbelievable facility. I don't know if y'all have had a chance to tour that. A great facility. We hired a unbelievable world-class NIL coordinator who has incredible knowledge. So it's become just another part of the process. So those conversations that you're talking about, you have to have answers for those conversations. But as far as using the NIL as a reason to come here, that's not, nothing has changed. It's still a holistic approach for us. Man, we've got some amazing people out there, the dear old Clemson, Tiger Impact, and just great, programs that are available to our players here. And again, that's why you see guys staying here. Guys are maximizing their opportunities, and they know that they can do whatever they want to do here. It's just really up to them. But the focus has always been inside out. And to be honest with you, as I've said many times, when NIL came, there was nobody more equipped than us as a program. With what we've been doing for 14 years now with Paul Journey, from a financial literacy standpoint, tax education, you name it, agents, everything. We've always had that approach. So conversations have changed. There's been more to talk about, just like when applied science and nutrition and strength conditioning and all these things, as things have grown. This is just another area that's important. And so you got to make sure that you address it. And then, honestly, I was thinking about it this summer. I was thinking through it, and for me, we built this program on NIL. We really did, and it's probably different than what you're thinking, though. We built this program in God's name, image, and likeness, and that's how I look at it. So as things have changed, God has always been the foundation of what I do. And so we've been dealing with His name, image, and likeness for a long time. And I think as this new era has come forward, God just continues to bless us here at Clemson.
With the transfer portal going on now, and then also bowl practice, is there more talk about maybe moving this early signing period? Maybe in July, somewhere down there? I don't know.
I mean, I have no idea. I mean, I guess there's a lot of conversation going on, but, honestly, I love the early signing period. I've always been an advocate for it. I think it ought to be earlier. Personally, where we are today in college football, I think after August 1 of your senior year, you should be able to sign anytime you want. And I think it protects, because it's sad what's going on with high school recruiting. There's a lot of kids in high school that used to have a lot of opportunity and access that aren't getting it now. And so, me personally, if I was a high school kid or a high school coach, I'd fight moving that thing back. I would advocate to leave it or move it forward, because again, I think it protects the high school kids. I think. And again, I don't know what, I think you should just sign any time. After August 1, you offer somebody a scholarship, they ought to be able to sign. And that right there would protect a lot of these fake offers, protect these kids from all these fake offers, and I think that's important. And I think it would protect all these kids that are committed for a long time. And then all of a sudden the portal opens up and people see this portal guy, and then they call the high school kid back and say, hey, now you don't have a scholarship here anymore. So I think it ought to be earlier so that those kids could lock in to their school. All these guys that we've had, they would have signed in June. They would have signed in July. They would have signed anytime. All these guys. We just signed 27 guys, 26 high school kids, and all 26 would have signed back in the summer. So I think leave it where it is or move it earlier, or either don't even just say, hey, anytime after August 1, you can sign. And that would slow down a lot of these uncommittable offers, number one. And then number two, it protects the kid. And I think it would help I think it helps the coach as well. Like, now again, I think the kids are already protected and they can leave anytime. But I think if that was the case and you could sign early and they fire the coach or the head coach leaves, then hey, you're free to open your recruitment back up, because I think that's important. They're already protected; they can leave anytime they want. But I think if you had an early signing period, but it would cut out a lot of these fake offers, and it would protect these kids so they, from coaches coming back and pulling the offer. I think that is important, and I think it would protect the high school recruiting. So who knows? But I think also maybe there would be some ADs out there that might give that coach maybe another year. There's a really good class signed, committed already, and he might say, you know what, hey, because if I fire this guy, these guys are they can go wherever they want. It might give that guy another year or two. So I think it's good on both sides, to be honest with you. And I know there's a lot going on. There's always a lot going on. When is there not a lot going on? So, I mean, there's never this utopia moment. You have to learn how to balance things. You got to learn how to spin a bunch of plates at one time. That's just the way it is. So, I personally like it, where it is. I do think there should be some changes from the portal standpoint. I think that, again, I think right now a kid should be, if your coach leaves, your head coach, if he leaves or is fired, you ought to be able to go and play wherever you want. I think that's great. I think if you're a graduate, you ought to be able to go and be eligible right away. You come to college to get a degree, and you've earned that right. I think you ought to be able to go and be eligible right away. But I think there just needs to be, a few tweaks. I think, first of all, that if you're not a graduate or your coach is not fired, you should have to sit a year. You should sit a year, get acclimated, because I think because right now we have no barriers, we have no reason for pause, we have no pain, no consequences. And so I think if a kid had to sit a year, again, you can go anywhere you want, anytime. You don't need anybody's permission. But if your coach is not fired or left, or you're not a graduate, you sit a year. And then guess what? Upon graduation, you get that year back. And if you're this big-time superstar, you're not going to need that extra year anyway, right? So, but we would re-incentivize graduation, which is what we should be about in collegiate athletics. That's my opinion. So, and I think that would, if there was just a little bit of pause, it would cut back on some of these hasty decisions that kids make. Just a little bit of pause. And now all of a sudden maybe that kid's like, that's it, a season. And they push through. And 9 times out of 10, man, it works out for them. But, again, there's lots of opportunity. But I think, number one, it would stop tampering, because you got all this tampering going on out there because now there's this whole new pool of recruits, right? It's not just high school kids anymore or graduates or junior college guys. It's freshmen. It's mid-year enrollees, it's sophomores, and that's not good. It's not healthy. It's not good for the game. It's not good for anybody. And so, it would cut out the tampering, number one. And again, I think it would protect the high school recruits. It would protect high school recruiting a little bit because, again, you got a lot of these high school kids that aren't getting opportunities. So, if coach leaves or is fired, hey, you go. You're eligible. No problem. And I think that makes everybody have to make good decisions there. Make hasty decisions with coaches too. I think it works both ways. And I think, if you're not a graduate or your coach isn't gone, you can go, but you sit. Now there's just a little bit of consequence that now all of a sudden you got to really want to do that. And what's wrong with a little bit of development? What's wrong with a little bit of time? Like we all want this microwave. Like we need to have a crock pot mentality. Like, right, the best meals come from that crock pot when you leave at about 8 in the morning and mama's got some food in the crock and you're like, woo, that's going to be good when I get home about 6, right? But everybody wants it in the microwave, and that's usually not the best meals, the one you just heat up. That's how everybody wants it to be, but that's just what I think. So, And I'm passionate about the high school kids and the high school recruiting and the development. So, but, what do I know? I don't know. That's what I think.